Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Popcorn Wind Down. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy.
Thank you for joining us. This week's episode is brought to you by Hula's Holistic Healthcare. They take holistic, organic approach to your healthcare. Cure all that ails you with their holistic, natural, and organic line of medicines and remedies that come directly from the earth. To find the closest mobile unit, call this week's burner number 1888 Hula Care. Are you laughing at our sponsor, Tammy?
I'm so sorry. I apologize. Has the check cleared?
Yes. I always make sure it does before we go live, because I try not to ask too many questions.
We gotta hold it in.
This week we discuss Doogie Kamealoha M.D, a remake of the 1990s series Doogie Howser, about a teenage doctor who tries to balance his extraordinary life and job with the ordinary ins and outs of being anything but a typical teen. In this iteration, our resident teenage doctor genius / protagonist is Lahala Kamealoha, portrayed by Peyton Elizabeth Lee. So, Timmy, what did you think? Was the series worthy of resuscitation, or is it DOA?
DOA.
Dead on Arrival. You thought it was Dead on Arrival?
Okay, so I did not like it at all. And I watched all the episodes and I did not like it. But I will say, if you are open to like very kid-friendly series, it was very Disney heavy. All the tropes that are in all of Disney shows was in this show, like very, very Disney heavy. Like certain characters that I just feel was just a refresher of like other characters that have been in other Disney shows that I watched when I was younger. But still an adult, but just younger. So I think maybe I'm just at the point where I'm no longer interested in those types of shows because I just could not get into it at all. So yeah, it wasn't for me. I'll be honest, it was not for me. And I really went in after the first episode, I kind of like shut down. But I was just like, okay, I'm gonna be open-minded with this. I got to the last episode and I was just like, nope, didn't pull me in at all. Did you have a different opinion?
Yes and no. It's on life support for me.
Okay.
I thought it was cute, and I did like that it. I did like that it developed its own identity and it paid homage to the original. So I really appreciated that. But maybe you hit the nail on the head. I'm not one who's ever really been into Disney shows. Let's be honest, I have Disney Plus for the Marvel shows, but and I was excited about it because I do remember Doogie Howser and I did like it. But this one was, I guess, too saccharine. Maybe that, and maybe because it did fit that whole Disney formula. And I don't know. She was the main character was just so freaking robotic. Like Little Miss Perfect. And I wanted to see her struggle more with the aspects of being a teen. I get that you have this really adult job, but what about the aspects of you are still a teenager? Even like the whole first love thing worked out in this cute little bow. And I'm like, it's never that simple, So I actually found myself being drawn more to the supporting characters than the main character. Like I loved her dad and her brothers. Her brothers and her father made the show for me. Like I could have done without her and her mom and just done with her brothers and her dad. What about you?
I would agree on enjoying. If I had to say like characters that I enjoyed, I would say that I enjoyed all the other characters more than I enjoyed her and her mom. So I would agree with you on that assessment of like the robotic and everything just perfectly always working out. Like I thought that the I don't know her name because I didn't even look up characters, But the female doctor,
Mm-hmm.
the female resident.
Mm-hmm.
So when she said, when she was basically telling her, like, hey, this is your first love, and that's great, but you're going to find guys that you connect with more on a whole nother level that you have more in common with. And the first guy that kind of showed some type of interest, and they were like, oh, he's kind of on your level because he wants to take you to a poetry reading. And I'm like, yeah, that didn't work out, but that doesn't mean she's wrong. But then all of a sudden they changed their mind on it. And they're like, oh, well, it'll work out. It's romantic. And that whole like old people who like were each other's first love and then they lost touch and now they got married at their old. And I'm just like, no, that's not how life works. That's why I say like it was so Disney heavy on the tropes that were like thrown in there. And I'm just like, no, she's right. You and your first love, most likely y'all are not going to survive. That's a realistic viewpoint of how the world works. Like it just, and then her best friend who was a stalker, that was another one that I could throw out the door as well. Like you was a stalker and then magically like the brother just like happens to like all of a sudden develop feelings.
Yeah, that was like, and it wasn't, and so it, yeah. Um, I love her brother. He's a cutie. And her older, both of her brothers, like I said, her dad and her brothers are some of my favorite characters. Um, but yeah, and I like Dr. Lee too, because in that first episode, I remember you told me about it. He was like, oh, it must be nice to have a white mama. Because the
Because
way,
how she was talking back, I'd have been like, ooh, that's a pop in the mouth right there, baby. That's a pop in the
thank you.
mouth.
Not only is she your mom, she's your boss, and the blatant disrespect.
That too.
Yeah, I know my mama, my black mama would have went upside my head in public in front of all my colleagues and would have been
Like my whole thing was, you're a doctor. You were smart enough to go to medical school and to become an actual practicing doctor, and you didn't even know how much you made.
oh yes. Like
Like you,
it's
that
just
means you have no sense of money, but yet you want to be treated like you grown, and you don't even take care of your own money. I said, get the fuck
like
out of here! Like, get out of here with that nonsense. Come
I was with
on.
you. I was like, yeah. So it's just direct deposit into account, and that was the thing I said, into an account that doesn't have your name on it. Like for real? Like,
But you're a
oh,
practicing doctor? Like, come on.
and and it's not uncommon for 16-year-olds to have their own accounts, because that's usually when they start getting their first jobs and their parents want them to learn how to manage money and be more accountable for it. So it was just like, yeah, that was a little unbelievable to me.
And then
um
also when she was kind of doing the trading, right? When she was doing the trading online, and I'm like, even at that point, when she saw how much she was making and she wanted to buy this and she wanted to buy that, I feel like at no point did she even ask to see how much money she had in her account. Like I'd have calculated how much money I make in a year once I saw my check.
mhm.
Like I had that on lock.
On
And
lock lock.
and that was not even like a thought. So I'm just like, you want to be treated like you're grown because you happen to be a practicing doctor, but you're not, because you're not even taking any type of control over any other aspects of your life.
And that's the thing, like, and that is something that and that goes along with the whole show the other side of it. Yeah, you have this one aspect of your life together, your profession is on lock and you're great at it, but because you missed out on being a kid and having a normal childhood, come 16, which is one of the most hormonal ages, and when you're going through so many changes, it's not going to be that easy. I don't care if you've been a practicing doctor. I don't, just the parts of being 16. Like how everything worked out for the dance and just different things, and how her relationship is so quote unquote perfect with Walter. And not saying that Walter is not a good guy and he's understanding, but I was kind of hoping that the poetry guy would not be an asshole, like would give some competition or create a love triangle or some interest. Because, and I thought about that. It's like, okay, are we, and like you said, maybe I've outgrown my fascination with these types of shows or this particular type of show in particular. But it's like, okay, am I looking at it from the adult lens? But my mom always told me too, even at 16, enjoy it, but it may not last. You know, you're going to have to go through that first heartbreak. So the fact that he turned out to just be this asshole, and all the questions deep down, because deep down she knew that the resident, I forgot her name too, and you know I'm horrible with names, but she forgot that she knew that the other resident was right, that okay, Walter's a great guy, he's a hot guy, he's a nice guy, but is he the right guy even at this moment? Because not that you should agree on everything, but their differences are so vast, you know.
Okay. Okay, so here's another thing, right? So first of all, you got one friend. Like, it was just too much Disney-esque on like certain things that I found to be very, very, like, a lot of nonsense. You got one friend in the whole world. Like, you ain't got no other friends in the whole world, and your friends are adults. You ain't got no other teenage friends. That's number one. Second, when he took you to the skateboarding rink, right? When he took you there, skateboarding park, sorry, and you met his friends are fucking idiots. Like, so I'm like, he can't be that smart. And like, I don't understand that. He the only one that's smart in his group? You can't be that smart in a group of idiots. Like,
Okay.
you can't be that smart. Like, I was just like, there's no way. I understand, like, no. No, I've never seen that. I know, you can have some dumb friends, and you cannot be, that smart. But it was just ridiculous on how unintelligent it, like, I was just like, really? And that's who you want to hang out with? Like, there's regular teenagers who can have a conversation, right? I'm just saying. That's just me.
Yeah. And what do they say? You are a reflection of your friends, or your friends are a reflection of you. So I'm like, okay, I understand having at least, because not everybody in your friend group is going to be a brain trust. I understand having at least one idiot, maybe, but
I
all of
have
them to
none.
be.
But go ahead. I digress. Go ahead.
um, but I can't say that I have none. There are a few. Some of them I might be even related to, but that's a different story for a different day. Um, but it's just, yeah, I was like, your entire friend group are idiots. One dude was eating a fucking toothpick thinking it was like a bread roll, he thought it was a microscopic bread roll. And then you're going to take a charcuterie board, and I can't pronounce it right now, but the meat and cheese board to a fucking skate park girl, if you don't go buy you some Lunchables.
Yeah, like, it was
I'm
too
like,
cliche. Like, I mean, I understand. Like, it's supposed to be cutesy, but I was just like, it was too cliche. Like, I'm just like, who is your audience? Your audience cannot be teenagers, first of all. Like, your audience got to be like, what, 8, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10, 11-year olds, if that. Like, no, because, and then here's the thing. I asked some teenagers if they watched it, and they say, oh no. Like, that was their response. So I'm just like, it was too cutesy. Like, I mean, like, Doogie Howser, you sat there and like you watched it. Like, but like, it was cliche, but at the same time, it also seemed a little more realistic. Like, Zach Morris was not dumb all the time.
yeah,
AC
like,
Slater was not dumb all the time. Like, that was just not the case. And I'm like, how did you get to the point where you don't have, and I'm still on the fact that you only got one friend. Like, I just don't understand that.
yeah.
I don't get it. How did you make this friend? Did they ever talk about how they became friends?
Like, I guess when she was in kindergarten, like they met when she was in when the one time where before they actually realized, oh, she's like years ahead of everyone else, and they became friends in kindergarten. And her friend kind of explained, like, okay, I'm a bit much and you're a bit much, so we're a bit much in different ways, so that works for us. And besides the fact that her friend was a stalker, it didn't bother me. But what did bother me is that when she made other friends with the dance team, it's like they just all of a sudden disappeared, these different friends.
Like they were there for one episode and then no more.
Yeah, and or did you give them up so that they could become Steph's friends since she was actually in school? And I understand you being a doctor, maybe not having necessarily time for a whole full-fledged dance team, but the fact that these girls were not the mean girls you thought they were, which was good. I'm glad they didn't lean into that trope, that they were actually nice girls, decent friends. It's like, okay, you make a whole new group of friends and you explain to Steph why it was so important for you to make friends your age, because wasn't that the episode where it was just about her, okay, not necessarily fitting in with the doctors because they were all adults, and then her not necessarily being able to fit in with high school, and her going out to find friends her age and develop interest for girls her age. And it's like all of a sudden you develop this one interest and it's gone. So it's like, okay, what about the carryover of having more friends? And actually, and that's what I mean. It's like, I want to see, I get that she's a badass doctor, I get that, but also every doctor is not going to save every patient. The one patient who did actually end up not making it, he was so sick that even the operation they wanted to give him was a risk and was not a chance, was too much of a risk for them to take, you know? So it's just like, so even Doogie Howser dealt with real world issues. Even the original series, he wasn't always right or always perfect, especially when it came to his life outside of the hospital, you
I
know?
agree.
So,
It was
and so,
more realistic in its unrealistic ways.
yeah,
And for this show, it just was not. It was not. Everything was just too perfect all the time. You're a hotshot doctor, but there is no way, I don't care what nobody says, that you are the best doctor in that hospital.
no,
Who did you learn from? Who did you, because they didn't send you away to go to school. They didn't send you away to go to school. You went to school on the island. So who did you learn from? You know, like your mother, who says that you're better than her. Like, yeah,
you know,
it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. I'm just gonna put it out there. It was not for me.
and it was like, okay. And then all of a sudden it's like the Max Greenfield episode I really liked. That was one of my favorites. And it's like, okay, you know she's not going to leave the island, but the way she decided not to leave the island, it was just like, really. And it seemed like her mom got what she wanted, you know. And it was just it, yeah, it's like, I hate how they wrap a bow around it. But I do, like I said, some of the positives for me were other members of the supporting cast. I like Dr. Lee, he's funny. I like the one with Magic Johnson where he's like, are you still there? Are you still there? And he's like, just pretend like you're frozen. Just pretend like you're frozen. When, because the chief of staff, they didn't think he actually knew Magic Johnson, and he did. And then when they were on the Zoom call, I do like Dr. Lee. He's funny. He comes across as a bit of an ass, but I do like that. I liked in that last episode that she actually learned something from transcribing his notes when he wasn't talking about his different idiotic remakes on movies and TV shows and all of that kind of stuff. Um, so I do like the sense of family that they have. Her dad, like I said, I love her older brother Kai. Her younger brother is a cross between her and her older brother. He's a trip. He is hilarious. Um, and I guess Kai, he's just that, what's his trope? The lovable idiot. Is that right?
Oh, he's not as dumb as he pretends to be.
No, he's not. Not necessarily. Um, I I like that. I like that he bakes and he loves to bake, but I don't know what the hell he was doing with that cake.
He didn't bake cakes. That wasn't his thing.
No. And then he goes, I have a word, cookie pie. And they're like, that's two words, but okay. So, but I agree with you about the best friend. It's like, you didn't, if it was something that you started to do, if it was something that started because you actually spent more time together, but just because she tried to help you make a cake, all of a sudden this girl who you thought was creepy all of a sudden just becomes someone that, oh, like one episode and you suddenly see her in a new light. That was not, yeah, it wasn't good. Um but one thing I do love is how they use Hawaii is more than just a beautiful backdrop, and they're incorporating more of the history and culture, or at least a little bit more of the culture, because it has been Disneyfied. They're not going to deal too much with the Hawaii's complicated history with colonization and whitewashing as part of the United States,
Yes.
um, which some other shows that are filmed in Hawaii are starting to do, some of the more mature shows that are not filmed on Disney. But I really do like how they're showing the culture, like how they do, as quote unquote Benny says, talk story, and just, incorporating a little bit more of that into it, so you can see, what it's actually like to, or get an idea. I'm not going to say we see what it's actually like, but get an idea of what Hawaii has to offer in some of its culture, besides hulas and and leis and all of that kind of stuff, and just being a beautiful island. But what do you think about her dad quitting his trading job to be a flour slash shaved ice?
Um, Goes back to the Disney trope. I
Or
mean,
he
I
says,
to be honest, I could take or leave his dad, take or leave her dad. I yeah, he was just there for me. Like he was annoying in a lot of ways to me on his Zen mode, and but I think that's just me taking that as a grain of salt and bullshit. So
I took it as, from the real world. Like I said, I liked her dad more than her mom, but from the real world perspective, I'm like, ooh, you lucky you married to a rich white doctor.
yeah. And he probably made good money when he was working. But yeah, being
When he was
married
a trader,
to
yeah.
yeah, when he was a trader, but being married to a very successful doctor on the island, yeah, y'all are living real good. Cause when he said that, oh, this just reminds me of the time your mom made me no, when my truck finally turned a profit, when your mom started making me charge people. And I was just like, what? So she was just letting you give stuff away for free at first? I was like, okay.
Yeah. So it was it's
It has
I
its
don't
moments. It does have its moments. There are certain characters that I love, but there's other characters that I would have changed. I think her mom was extremely needy and extremely, like, very, very annoying. And I'll be honest, I didn't see how her mom and her dad ended up together. Like, I don't feel that they mesh well, because even when her mom is supposed to be having downtime, I still don't see the connection. I don't see her actually having downtime. Like, she's always like on a hundred at all times. Like there's no like breather to it. So I can see her dad. I can see how he's changed, his life, and how he's very zen. Like I may not be a fan of it, but I can see it. But her mom is neurotic, and I don't see the downtime for that. So I did not like her mother would be my least favorite character in the whole entire show. She was too needy. That's
yeah.
just me.
Maybe it was maybe it was a case of opposites attract. I was like, it would be interesting to have a flashback episode to see how her parents actually met, like where they met. Was it in New York, or they were together when they were in med school? Because he mentioned that. But yeah, I did like her mom. I did like her dad better than her mom. Her mom kind of grew on me. Like the episode where her mom tried to play basketball to get in with the chief of staff. That was hilarious. Where she was knocking down the people on the court and talking all that. But I guess that was an example of your 0 to 100, how she just doesn't have a chill mode. Because even when she took that day off, what did she do? She rearranged. Like she's super type A and a little OCD,
Mm-hmm.
and she rearranged the pantry. And then when she was thinking about cutting back from the hospital, and they were like, because she felt like her family didn't need her, and everybody was just like, yeah, whatever, like please go back to work. And she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go re-roof the pagoda." And I was like, "Really?" So, so who were some of your favorite characters? We talked about some of the things we didn't like. What are some of the things you did like? Like, what is a positive you can take from this show?
Um, I liked Walter as
Okay.
a by himself as a character. Once they introduced his friends, then I liked him less. But I liked Walter. I thought he was a really cute love interest for her. I liked the guy, the two residents. I thought I really liked the vibe that they had. They had her back at all times. So that was really, really cool. Like they came back to help her transcribe Dr. Lee's notes. So that was really, really cool of them. That was a real friendship. I am with you on liking her brother. I think that he's a great character. I would definitely say her brother is a great character. If some of the dynamics would change, like, and I can see him being a star. Like he got the look, you know. He definitely did very, very well in this role. The actor did. Um, yeah, that's it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I
Um.
mean, yeah. The rest of them, take or leave them. And that
Yeah.
includes the main actress.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um. I can't say that I completely disagree. I love the brothers. The dad, I like the dad a little bit more than you do. Dr. Lee is actually the one who grew on me, who I ended up liking more than I thought I would.
I like
I
the
love the
actor.
Yeah, I love that. I love the residents. They are so funny, especially the guy. What did he say when he was talking about his relationship? And then you find out the guy has moved on and is in.
Apple picking with his boyfriend.
Yeah, in Wisconsin. I'm like, oh, so you one of them? Okay, but it was funny, and I like Walter, but I don't like them together. I'm with you. I think friends maybe, or just if they showed more of their balance, if they showed more of their opposites, like he's always doing stuff for her, and besides the cake or trying to make these big, grand, over the top gestures that she thinks are quote unquote romantic. She's not. He's doing stuff to get to know her, but she's doing stuff that she thinks she should do, but really don't have much to do with him. Does that make sense?
It does.
Like, okay, so you go to a skating park. You're not an idiot. You know what a skating park is, or you could have at least looked it up. Again, I don't get why you took a charcuterie board to a skating park. Okay. And then she was all dressed up when she went to the skating park. I'm like, you live in fucking Hawaii. You know better. Um, the whole big first date thing where he just kind of freaked out. He's like, whoa, that's like way too much. I get it. I appreciate it, but it was a bit much. The cake was a nice gesture. I did love that. I'm a sucker for a beautiful cake, so I can't argue with that. And you know what I thought when I saw the cake? I'm like, oh, she's finally spending some of that money. Like she figured out how much money she makes because that cake was not a cheap cake. And I'm like,
Ooh, yeah, that cake was expensive.
but I was like, but she can afford it because she's a doctor, so she's finally realizing what she makes. So the cake was a really nice gesture. So I'm not adding that to it, but it's just like show more of her getting to know Walter, like fitting into his world, like being a teenager. And I guess that's where it lost me. It's like it didn't have any balance between the two worlds. And you summed it up perfectly. It's just too Disney esque. Um, you know, and by, I guess, a scheduling snafu or whatever, we scheduled this before the final episode airs. So, are you going to watch episode 10?
No. Come on, you knew that was coming. Come on. Like, no, I'm not. I'm really not. Like, now that I see that we were down one episode, and I was just like, oh, it's so weird that it's at the ninth episode. And it was a little bit of a cliffhanger for the ninth episode. So I was like, maybe. But then when you told me, I was just like, oh, well, I don't have to watch it now. Because
Okay.
I really don't care how it ends.
So you took the question out of my mouth. So do you, as I say, do you think she should go to? Do you think she should take the medic job to go to Australia with Walter?
Well, okay, so I will answer that truthfully and say no, of course not, because you don't give up your whole life for a boy, especially being 16 years old, because you want to be treated like an adult, but you don't act like an adult. So no, you shouldn't be treated like an adult, and you shouldn't get to make those kinds of decisions. But to be honest, am I going to watch it to see what happens? Nope. What about you? Are you?
I am, just
Ooh, and
because.
then you can tell me.
Okay, I can live with that. I am, just because it has the lifetime movie effect for me. I don't want to be tempted to go back and try to, it's just a thing of finishing what I started. So I will watch it. I agree with you. Don't give it up. And if Walter doesn't come back, I'm okay with that, I guess.
Yeah, just
I
move on to your second love. Come on now.
Yeah,
You're a
I think
teenager.
I think they really need to retool the show,
Mm-hmm.
um and it kind of takes me back to what we said last year when we first watched Love, Victor, and how I'm so glad by the grace they sent it
Yes,
to Hulu.
Eddie.
Like,
Yes,
I'm
that's a
I'm
perfect comparison.
I'm so glad, and we kind of talked about it, and even as this season, because when Disney passed on it, we were like, oh God, they're not going to make the show, or it's done. And then when it got sent to Hulu, and you could tell that a lot of the first season was filmed with the intention of it being on
On
Disney,
Disney.
and you could tell the difference between the way they talked, and just the evolution of the characters from the first season to the second season. And so I think, and thankfully, for whatever reason, the Marvel shows have not really been too affected by that, because that was one of
Because
my
it's not
biggest.
it's not necessarily
Disney.
Disney. It's
Yeah,
Marvel that just happens to
yeah,
be under the Disney umbrella.
yeah. And so thankfully, they haven't been affected by that whole, and I hope they don't get Disney washed. And maybe Disney should stick to the kid shows and leave these tween, not, and she's not even a tween. Unless you're going to do it right, leave the YA shows to Hulu and your other networks, because you did this one a complete disservice. If she were a 12-year-old doctor, or a 13-year-old doctor, or a tween doctor, that was great. But 16-year-olds are dealing with some real world issues today, and they don't necessarily need to see it whitewashed like this. And I think the fact that she could be an aspiration, because being, if you're not a 16-year-old doctor, or a doctor by 16, then you could still become a doctor later, but make her more relatable to the people in her age group who I guess you would are marketing the show for. But yeah, that was just what I was going to say,
Um,
is that
I
I'm
I
go ahead.
don't think they're marketing the show to teenagers. That's what I'm saying. Like that's why I say like I think I have gotten to the point in my watch career, or on my watch list, where these types of shows no longer appeal to me. And but I think like the audience that they're going for, which is, even though she's 16, that's not their audience. And I can kind of see that that's not necessarily their audience. Like my annoyance is the annoyance that I have, and the review that I'm giving is based on my opinion as an adult. I'm not even looking at like how teenagers are going to take this. But I think like they really are going for that Disney audience, right? So the 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe up to like 13 years old, who can sit there and just enjoy it. Because I'm thinking like if I was that age, I would definitely enjoy this show. But as a grown ass woman, like nope, like
It's too.
nope. And I'm gonna tell you, like we can never suggest another Disney show to review. Like I can say right now, I'm not doing it. If it ain't Marvel, I ain't doing it, because I know that I am not going to enjoy it. I'm not, like I don't have faith in me being at the point in my watch career. Like I just will not enjoy it, because Disney is no longer for me. Yes, I know they don't make it for me, but I still used to enjoy the shows a lot. But now it's just not for me. But for the audience, it did very well. It did very well for the Disney audience. It got a second season.
Oh, well, yeah, see, I've never been a big Disney fan. Like, I never watched Hannah Montana, Even Stevens.
I
Uh,
was a huge Disney fan.
what was that Hillary Duff one? I never watched
Lizzie
any of the.
McGuire.
Yeah, I never watched any of the Disney movies, like or kid shows or any of that. So I've Disney has never been in my watching repertoire. Like I said, I'm just trying to make the most of it and watch it more than every few months when a Marvel movie comes out or a Marvel show or something. But I I guess for a Disney kid, if you have a child, let me put it this way: if you have a child and they like this stuff and you want something family friendly to watch,
Mm-hmm.
then it's great. And it's not even
Yeah.
that. And to me, and I don't know if I can even say that because it's not even that's not what I didn't like about it, I guess. I don't know. It's on life support. I didn't hate it as much as you did, but I can't say that I would fully recommend it. Not even to a friend who loves Disney stuff. I don't know that I could even still recommend it. So I don't know. I'm on the fence about this one. So it did. So you answered the next question. Should it be renewed for a second season? It's already been renewed. I take it you will not be watching the second season.
I won't even be watching the 10th episode. Come on, Eddie. Come on now.
Okay,
No, because
just
I no
one.
longer have to watch it. I don't even care what happens. Like, I'm gonna ask you just because I'm be like, and so did she go? But to be honest, if like you didn't watch the 10th episode, I would never worry about how this show ended.
And you know what? I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say it's Disney. No, she's not going. It's gonna be some
Of
whole
course
big
not.
deal, and then at the last minute, she's gonna work it out, and she's gonna realize if true love is meant to be, it'll be blah
It'll
blah blah
survive the
blah,
distance.
uh, blah 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 blah. And long distance relationships never really work out. But yeah, thank you to the television gods for sending Love Victor to Hulu because it would have been a disaster.
Because that show now, go watch Love Victor, y'all.
Definitely. And check out our 2 episodes about Love Victor.
Yes, but this one you can I would say skip it. I wouldn't even recommend it. I'm with you. I wouldn't recommend it to any teenagers that I know on watching it. I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't. Because I feel that if I was not entertained by it and I was not a fan of it, then they're not going to be a fan of it. Not to say that the audience that they were trying to reach, it didn't like it reached them because it did well, but I wouldn't suggest it to anybody. So I'm with you on that part.
Yeah, and I guess yeah, and that's my thing. It was just even too saccharine. I get your Disney audience, but yeah, it was too Disney. And I think Disney maybe has this thing of if it's don't broke, don't fix it. But it's like you're living in a parallel universe where everything is always perfect and can be wrapped up. And I get it's not a serial show. You do generally tend to deal with most storylines in one episode, but it's not always going to be that perfect. But I get it. So I guess. What did you dare I ask what you rated this? I mean
I gave it a
popcorns.
2.25. And it was saved by the actor who plays Dr. Lee because I am a fan of his. Also, it was saved by her brother Kai because I do think that Kai has a career ahead of him. Just keep moving forward. And it was also saved by the 2 residents who are also her friends who work with her. If it wasn't for those characters, it would have been rated way lower. So I'm going to give it a 2.25. But like I said, I would not suggest it. Like you can don't pop the popcorn, don't pour yourself a glass of wine. It's going to be a waste for you.
Yeah. Oh my God, I just thought when you were saying that. It's not even great escapism. Like sometimes when you want to escape the heavy shit and you just want to go watch something mindless but not murderous like Lifetime, mindless but not murderous. This is not even something I would recommend. Like sometimes there is escapism that you want and you just want to watch something mindless but this is just numbing. Like, you know, yeah. Okay. I agree. I rated it just a little bit higher. I went 2.5 stars, but it's on life support. I am gonna watch the 10th episode just out of maybe it'll be a random mention in one of our year end episodes of what happened. But yeah, and I'm not necessarily mad about not doing another Disney show. Maybe a movie or something if it's really good or interesting. But yeah, I'm kind of over it. Um, so I guess that does it for this week's episode of the Popcorn Wind Down. Please sure to listen, like, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and or Spotify Podcasts. You can also keep up to date on the latest in entertainment and pop culture news, as well as other amazing kernels of pop culture goodness at the Popcorn Wind Down. That's it. That's the plug.
Pop, 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 pop.
Thank you. Since you didn't recommend the popcorn, I got the popcorn plug. And as always, be sure to join us next week when we finally, I can bring back the finally, we finally discuss the long awaited Eternals and find out if it's really as bad as its Rotten Tomato scores indicate. Is it really worse than Thor 2 The Dark World? I cannot wait to discuss this. Has that taken away some of your excitement?
Okay, first of all, Angelina Jolie.
That's all you got to say.
That's all. That's all I gotta say.
Okay. So,
Oh, and
yeah.
Salma Hayek.
Selma Hayek, yeah. So if you want to be sure to find out our opinion, our thoughts and our opinions about the Eternals, tune in next week. And until next time, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy. Bye.
Peace.